Kholat Syakhl is a real mountain in Russia's Ural range. In the language of the local Mansi people, its name translates to Dead Mountain. It is a remote, windswept place, covered in deep snow and exposed to freezing winds, a place where survival is never guaranteed. In February 1959, a group of 9 experienced Soviet hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, established a camp on the slopes of the mountain. They were university students and graduates, highly trained in winter trekking. They had planned to complete a difficult route across the northern Urals, but they never arrived at their destination. When a search party finally located the camp weeks later, they found a scene that baffled investigators. The group's tent was still standing, but it had been cut open from the inside. Inside the tent, their boots, coats, and survival gear were neatly left behind. Outside, a trail of footprints led down the slope toward the tree line. The prints showed that the hikers had fled into the sub-zero night in their socks, or even barefoot. Their bodies were discovered scattered across the snow. The first 5 were found frozen, victims of hypothermia, desperately trying to crawl back to the tent. The remaining 4 were found months later, buried in a ravine. These bodies carried injuries that raised dark questions. Fractured skulls, severe chest trauma, equivalent to the force of a high-speed car crash. Yet there were no external signs of physical violence on the skin. And some bodies showed signs of radiation. The Soviet government quickly closed the case, stating that the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. In the absence of clear answers, the Dyatlov Pass became a breeding ground for legends. People spoke of secret Soviet weapons testing. They whispered about the Yeti. They blamed alien encounters, pointing to reports of glowing orange spheres in the night sky. And they suggested infrasound from the wind caused a sudden, uncontrollable panic. This was no longer just an accident. It was a modern myth. But the wilderness has its own forces. In 2019 and 2020, independent investigations and scientific models offered a different explanation. Researchers suggested a delayed slab avalanche. A heavy block of packed snow slid down the slope, striking the tent as the hikers slept. Injured and trapped, the hikers cut their way out, fearing a larger slide. In the darkness, blinded by a blizzard and facing freezing katabatic winds, they sought shelter in the forest. In the sub-zero temperatures, hypothermia took them one by one. And the severe chest trauma was likely caused by the weight of the snow when the ravine collapsed on the final 4 hikers. This explanation fits the physics of the mountain. It explains the tent, the clothes, and the injuries. But for many, the scientific explanation feels too simple for a tragedy that sat in silence for 60 years. Conspiracies survive because they offer a story where nature only offers cold facts. Maybe the hikers were victims of a rare mountain avalanche. Maybe the Soviet archives still hide details of a secret test. Or maybe the silence of the Urals is the only answer we will ever get. This is the Location Files, Episode 18, The Dyatlov Pass Mystery. Unexplained does not mean proven, it means unfinished. And this file is still open.